War Eagle War Rapport family, I'm your host, C-Dub. Athlon Sports recently released their rankings of the SEC quarterback rooms, and all the guys are back to discuss this in great detail. So we got a great show planned for you guys today. So get ready and enjoy the latest installment of the Weekend Tailgate.
You are now listening to a War Rapport Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by It's your boy, I Jones. Be Will, C-Dog, Mike G. Get ready, sit on back as we bring you the War Rapport Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle. Welcome to the latest edition of the Weekend Tailgate. All the fellas are here, and we definitely want to take time to acknowledge the show sponsor, Athletic Architects, guys. Listen, if you are a student athlete, parent of a student athlete, please be sure to visit buildthehouse.com so you can begin planning your financial future and getting your house definitely in order. Big shouts out to them for supporting the show. Also, want to shout out all of you who are watching us guys live or on replay. We need you to do us a favor. That favor is that if you're on social media, share this episode, this video, share our content, help people to find us in this off season, help us to grow our community. Just use the hashtag Get Your Weight Up. Also, smash that like button. And also, if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe as well as the notification bell so you'll be alerted when we go live. Now, Mike G, tell the people why they need to become a patron in the off season, sir.
Guys, we are burning up at the War Rapport right now. Become a patron. We got lots of tight content coming for you guys. That means interviews. That means game day content. Some of it will be patron only. So you don't want to miss out on that. Become a patron, $5.99. If you're on an iPhone, it's going to say $7.99. That's not us. That is the man. That's I wrote Tim Cook about this. He did not get back to me, but just know if you sign up from a computer at $5.99, it will transfer Apple fees. We don't have anything to do with that. But if you sign up as a patron, you get access to early interviews this week, tomorrow. It's Evan McGuire. Evan McGuire joins us to talk about the Auburn kicking game. So this is a great conversation with a very, very nice young man about the kicking game at Auburn. And we wanted to bring a well-rounded discussion around different positions. So we decided to get into that kicking room. Evan joins us to talk about it. You don't want to miss that. Patron only right now. If you haven't missed it, our Keontae Scott video is already live for patrons, but everybody else can catch that coming Thursday. So you definitely don't want to miss what we got going on there. As always, we are giving away something. This is brought to you by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. That's our guy, Walt Taylor, also of War Eagle Oil. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comments to get your mug. So you definitely don't want to miss that. We're going to draw at the 1 hour mark. So you got to be here to win. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comments. Make sure you spell that right. And don't miss your chance to win a mug at the 1 hour mark.
Indeed. Gentlemen, how are we doing, man? Y'all doing all right?
Yeah. Doing good.
I'm doing much better. Guys, I was sick as a dog on Wednesday show.
You hit it well.
Yeah. Should have worn my flu game sneakers because that's definitely what I was dealing with during the show. So glad to see everyone here. Let's get into it, guys. This is the off season, so of course this is the time for lists.
Oh man, everybody got a list.
Everybody got a list, and the latest being Athlon. They basically recently released their list of QB rooms. So it's not just starting QBs, but obviously the entire room, whoever's the backup, so on and so forth. They released that list, and it's interesting to see where Auburn fell on that list. But I want us to kind of go through and talk about this list in great detail for our show, just to give us some great content. The list is as follows. Mike G, you do a great job with this drum roll that you do. Would you like to do us the honors, guys?
I'm insecure about it because of Brian. See, Brian criticized my drum roll.
Wait, hold on. That's the first time his criticism made you insecure about something? He always criticizes you
about everything.
Yeah, but the drum roll was something I had worked on.
Man, stop this. Stop.
Y'all earned the drum roll.
Okay, all right.
I ain't even gonna say nothing. That was good, Mike. That was good.
Thanks, Brian.
Appreciate your efforts.
Oh, yeah. That's not sarcastic at all.
Right, none detected. Without further ado, here's a list, and we can start from the bottom up, shall we? Of course, we have Vandy. Don't know who those guys are. Missouri, you got Brady Cook, Tyler Macon, and coming in at 12 is Auburn with TJ Finley, Zach Calzada, and Robbie Ashford. And the assumption made in their releases that they are expecting TJ Finley, who has the most experience in Auburn's offense, to kind of be the guy going into the fall. Next is LSU. Interesting spot for them with Miles Brennan, Jaden Daniels, who is I believe the Arizona State transfer, if I'm not mistaken. Garrett Nussmeier, who was a big recruit about a year ago there. Coming in at 10 is actually Texas A&M with Haynes King and the transfer from LSU, I believe, right?
No, he's they actually don't. He's not on here, but what's his name? Brad. His dad's Brad. What's his face?
Max Johnson.
Max Johnson.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So Max Johnson, Connor Wegman, and I guess that is a big time recruit they got Connor recently. So coming in number 9 is Ole Miss with Jackson Dart, who actually the competition at Ole Miss is a little bit more stiff than they thought. They expected Jackson Dart to come in and be the guy, but apparently that hasn't happened yet. So Ole Miss is at 9. Florida is at 8 with Anthony Richardson and Jack Miller. Number 7 is at Kentucky. That's Will Levis. They didn't really mention anyone behind him. More on that later. Number 6 is Georgia with Stetson Bennett, Carson Beck, Brock Vandegrift, and Gunnar Stockton. You remember that name from about a year ago when we were recruiting him. Number 5, South Carolina with Spencer Rattler. More on that. Number 4, Mississippi State with Will Rogers. Number 3 with Arkansas, KJ Jefferson and Malik Hornsby. Number 2, Tennessee with Hendon Hooker, yeah. And number 1, Bryce Young with Alabama, and another Jalen there. Let me start with you, Mike G. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of surprise as to the top 1 especially, given the production from last year. My reaction to this is, if you are a program who's basically returning your starting quarterback who was productive last year, they were pretty kind to you.
Yeah, right.
Reasonably so. If your QB room was in flux, you could have landed anywhere starting from 7 on back. Right. But all right, what's the surprise to me, because you were pretty high on Will Rogers with Mississippi State, and I'm pretty sure you still are. Are you surprised that he landed at 4?
Will Rogers is the second best quarterback in his league. Will Rogers is the second best quarterback in this league. The Will Rogers disrespect is unfathomable. I cannot believe they put Will Rogers behind KJ Jefferson and Hendon Hooker, especially KJ Jefferson. Now, I like Hendon Hooker. I think he has a lot of potential. But if this were my list, Will Rogers is at number 2. And I'm sorry, the Stetson Bennett, even though he's mid, the Stetson Bennett disrespect is a little too much for me. The dude just won a national title. He literally just won a national title. I think I would have him up around 3 or 4. I just don't know how you, I mean, he's actually accomplished something in college football. He is actually. And and you put him behind a dude who just left his program for South Carolina. Let me say that again. Spencer Rattler left a program that produces Heisman-winning quarterbacks for South Carolina, and you put him in front of Stetson Bennett. Now, I'm not saying Stetson Bennett is like the best thing that's ever happened, but I don't know. Like I said, I think he did the job. He did the job. He won a national title. He was as consistent as they needed him to be, and he gave his receivers chances to make plays. I think it's really disrespectful to put him at number 6. Will Levis, I might put him a little higher on this list. I mean, after the quarterbacks I just named, it's kind of like a toss up from 5 to 9 or whatever. Jackson Dart transferred from USC, I believe. There's just a lot of I don't knows on this list after 5 or 6, right? Like, I'm with you. See,
Yeah.
when you get to the middle or bottom of the list, man, flip a coin about how these guys are going to do. Haynes King, Max Johnson, Connor Wegman. I don't think Max Johnson was a bad quarterback.
No. High floor, low ceiling.
Right. Yeah. Just about the same as everybody else here. High floor, low ceiling, just like B said. So, like, we have said repeatedly on this show, for a lot of players, improving is about raising your floor, because you made it to this level. If you want to start a job, the coaches see your potential in what you could be in terms of, what your max potential is. But how bad can it get when it starts going bad is the difference between 1 through 4 and everybody else. So I feel like our quarterback room is going to surprise some people. Now, we seemingly didn't get credit for returning 2 guys who started at their schools last year. We have 2 guys on this list that started at their schools last year. And I get any doubt you may have based on how the season finished for TJ Finley. I hope that improvement manifests on the field. But I think Zach Calzada is being a little disrespected here for what he accomplished at A&M last year, because he had a lot of wide receiver drops and his line was terrible in pass pro.
Yeah.
They were all-time bad. They had they were allowing pressure on 37% of their dropbacks last year on Zach Calzada. 37%. That was the only person who had just about as much pressure than Zach Calzada had last year was Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Those are the 2 worst teams in pass pro last year. So the Zach Calzada disrespect here, I don't know. I think we could have hopped up a couple spots on this list. I don't know. I don't know how you put A&M's quarterback room in front of ours with Jackson Dart and Haynes King, who really haven't done anything.
Wait, Jackson Dart's not at A&M.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. He's Ole Miss. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Haynes King,
Max Johnson. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's a push between us and them. I just feel like maybe we could have been a couple spots higher. Either way, listen, if you have a quarterback in the bottom half of this list, that's not good. Your quarterback room needs to be in the top 1/3 of the league if you expect to compete, I think. Now, show me an example of a team that competed for a division or SEC title that had a QB ranked in the bottom 2/3 of the league. I'm not sure that is what it is. It is what it is. So that's why I think Stetson Bennett at 6 doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think he's 2 spots at least higher than where they put him.
B, you're making noises over there. Let's just give your assessment of what you see here, man. Just what jumps out at you first and foremost. Just go.
First things first, Will Rogers should be number 2. I'm in agreement with Mike there, because he's the only guy who is just throwing 2 kind of dudes. But as we've heard from not only Chris Todd, but seen some broken analysis of it elsewhere, Mike Leach's system isn't a bunch of explanations and this deep playbook. It's kind of a feel it and go. and it takes time to master it, which is why Will Rogers wasn't great in year 1, but he was awesome in year 2. He is working with the least of every guy on here outside of maybe Missouri and Vanderbilt. So it's really hard to look and see how in the heck do you have Will Rogers. Now it does say QB rooms. So if you're going to tell me that, okay, there's nobody, we don't know who's by Will Rogers, we don't know who's behind him.
Right.
I agree that Mississippi State has the lowest chance of having a quality starter behind a quality backup behind their starter. That is correct. I would agree with that. I would say if this is a combination of the starter and the backup, or the starter and the potential backup, then maybe that's why you knock them down to 4. But if we're doing that, then I still say you have to have Hendon Hooker lower than Will Rogers because he wasn't as productive or efficient as Will Rogers, and we don't have an idea of who his backup is. So why is he higher than Will Rogers? That's the first little bit of disrespect. Spencer Rattler. I have some wonderies.
It's go time, B. Let's go.
You know, when you get to be under the wing of who is Lincoln Riley, who's regarded as the college QB whisperer, who has produced, whether he recruited them out of high school or he got them from another school, 3 Heisman finalists, 2 Heisman winners, and he's made it to the college football playoff, I think at least 3 times now, because he went with Jalen Hurts, he went with Baker Mayfield, and he also went with Kyler Murray. If you get there and you get to start for an entire year, you come back year 2, in that entire year you were underwhelming, which was the 2020 season for Spencer Rattler. He was the assumed starter. Jalen Hurts had left. He had departed. That was his redshirt freshman year for Spencer Rattler at Oklahoma. It was 2020. He had been there for a year. So it's not like, oh, let's throw him out there and this is all brand new for you. No. He was there at Oklahoma, having been in the system under the dude for a minute. And his results were middling at best. Came in year 2, and a true freshman who had not been there before. Let's back up. You have been there for a year, redshirting, preparation under what's considered the best QB coach in the country, and a all-world leader in Jalen Hurts. So if there was anything to be gained, X's and O's wise, and personality wise, and maturity wise, you've got the guy who's coaching all the best QBs and one of the greatest singular personalities and leaders we may have seen in the last, I give him 10 years. Jalen Hurts was a very steadying dude. I think we can all agree of all the Bama fans, Bama players we hated, Jalen Hurts was not one of the ones we hated.
Yeah, he wasn't.
You can appreciate who he was and what he did on the field. Were there some gaps in his game? Sure, but you didn't hold any of that against him. He's a good dude. So you've been in the system for a year, on the field for a year, and your 3rd year on campus, you get supplanted by a true freshman because you were turning the ball over and throwing INTs?
So to add context, in the Red River rivalry game, he got benched for the 2nd straight year.
Mm-hmm.
Turning over the ball, and Caleb Williams, which is why he became this hot name, led the largest comeback in that rivalry's history and led Oklahoma to win in the game you got benched in.
Yeah.
And he lost his job.
Yeah.
Continue, B.
All right. So for some reason, and maybe this is similar to what goes on in the NBA when guys have quote unquote measurables, but they don't have the game or they don't have the on-field production to justify them being highly regarded. Case in point, J.D. Davison. If I look at Scottie Pippen Jr., what he did at Vanderbilt, what he's doing on the court now in Summer League, and I look at J.D. Davison, I don't know how Scottie Pippen Jr. goes undrafted, but J.D. Davison gets drafted. In a similar fashion, I'm looking at Spencer Rattler saying, all right, you had all this promise, hype coming out of high school, high ratings. You were there for a year. You played for a year. And then you got outplayed by a dude who had just put the posters up on his wall of his dorm. Why do I care? What is it about this dude that we think is so good, or that they think is so good? The masses, we know he started for Oklahoma. That didn't work out well. Lincoln Riley wants the best talent. He's going to go get the best talent. If he's willing to put you on the bench, that means you're not the best talent. And he was very willing to put this dude on the bench. I don't know what makes him so highly regarded by everybody else. Well, if you look at his measurables and his numbers, he was in the best possible situation for a quarterback, not just in who was coaching him, but in their offensive line and protection and in their wide receivers. We lamented all last season how we had a lot of trouble with drops and poor chemistry and inexperience at wide receiver, and we saw it bite us in the butt. He didn't have those excuses at Oklahoma. Everything that contributes to a quarterback being good, not just himself, but everything around him, his protection, a run game to help him out, wide receivers making catches to help the quarterback out. You had all that, dude, and you were still a bum. Who thinks this dude is good? Yeah. And based on what? If I take numbers from one dude based on poor protection and poor wide receiver play, and he's outplayed Spencer Rattler, then why is Spencer Rattler so high? I don't understand this. I don't understand this rating for that guy, especially as the lone person on the list for that room. So again, if we're going to say, hey, the room is number 5 in the SEC, you're telling me this is just based on Spencer Rattler's play? How?
Yeah.
What have y'all seen? Does South Carolina have the offensive line to protect him as well as Oklahoma did? Probably not. Do they have the wide receiver core to help him as much as Oklahoma's did? Probably not. But somehow you think enough of him to put him above a guy who just won a national championship? What? Who writes this stuff at Athlon? We gotta write some complaint letters, man. We gotta start.
So to bolster B's point, he had, obviously he was splitting time with Caleb Williams, but he had 219 dropbacks last year. Mm-hmm. He was kept clean on 76.3% of his dropbacks. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
we would have taken it. So he was only under pressure 23.7 dropbacks, and his receivers only dropped 5 passes. Wow. Now, mind you, again, he split time.
That's not a full season of passes.
That's not a full season of passes. Right. But
okay, fair enough.
But even if you doubled that, that's only
some people said we tripled that in a game.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's only 10 drops on the season.
Legend has it.
You doubled that, right? Like, but he, and where his numbers did look good was when kept clean, he was 75.8%. Even under pressure, he was still 63.6%. And he had essentially a 11 touchdown to 5 interception ratio in those games played. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I just want to put that play in perspective. He definitely had the receivers and he had the pass pro. So he didn't have those excuses for why he got benched at all.
Yeah. Any more thoughts, B? Before I get Ike in here and get his thoughts on this.
Put the list back up one more time for me.
For you, B, absolutely. Sir.
So that sticks in my craw probably more than Will Rogers being 4. So I would still have Stetson Bennett above Spencer Rattler, of course, but I'm not quite on the train with Mike to say, hey, Stetson Bennett won a national championship, so he's obviously got this value because Jacob Coker won a national championship. He was still a bum. So there was a lot there going on in Georgia. You can't just overlook the fact that they had the best defense of all time and say, well, the QB won it.
But B, can I say this?
Yeah.
You have to argue, though, that even with Stetson Bennett being the guy, the QB at Georgia, that has to be a better QB room than South Carolina, right?
Fair enough. Okay. And well, it's based off of expectation because, of course, we haven't seen any of those other guys play.
Sure. Right. But you can, I mean, it's a safe assumption that the talent in that room is arguably better than South Carolina.
Hey, listen, sure. On 320 dropbacks, Stetson Bennett had 29 touchdowns and 7 interceptions.
I'm not saying he didn't do the job, but how much of that gets so easy when you're up big or when your run game is bruising people and the other team is third quarter and they can't?
It's not his fault.
That's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
It's not his fault, but the production within the context of the game has to be looked at as well. The same way you get people that throw for a bunch of yards, whether in the pros or in college, but they're always coming back. Like Philip Rivers had this reputation that he's going to get it done for you in the fourth quarter. Yeah, but he's always behind in the fourth quarter. So he's going to get the ball down 6 points with 2 minutes left. But how many INTs did you throw to make sure you were going to be down for the last drive of the game. That has something to do with it, and that's just a snapshot of Phil Rivers and the type of game he played. But for him, I'm not taking anything away from Stetson Bennett. I think he proved that the moment wasn't too big. When he had to make the throws, he could make them. But you give how many QBs could you give the type of leeway he had to as far as their defense and their run game, and they put up some phenomenal numbers as well. I don't know what Stetson Bennett's true value is as an individual in any system or on any team. But I do think the experience and him rising to the occasion is valuable. I still don't know if I have him. Well, he's above Spencer Rattler. That's really all I know. That's
championship winning returning experience though. So we're ranking these rooms. I'm ranking Stetson Bennett over guys who have not done what he did last year. That's all I'm saying. So like I'm not saying he deserves to be in the top 2, but I definitely would move him in front of Spencer Rattler. And I think Will Rogers and KJ Jefferson.
Right.
I would even argue even Hendon Hooker. I think Stetson Bennett should be 3 on this list personally, but
I couldn't really disagree with you. Now the only other I want to say beef. Will Levis I think he's good for Kentucky.
Right.
I think people are looking at Will Levis and projecting too far forward because they may see what's the guy's name he plays the pro quarterback for Buffalo.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
I think they're projecting Josh Allen, as a lot of people do. They project whoever the physical similarity is for a guy and assume he's that guy. But I don't think Will Levis is that guy. His downfield passing was not good. It is not good. And quietly, Kentucky had one of the most productive run games in the country. Will Levis's value was in his mobility more than his ability to pass consistently. And I think that there's not quite as much value in Will Levis as a quarterback as people may think, even though Kentucky flashed. They definitely flashed. He was an upgrade off of what they usually have.
Levis's biggest issue and I definitely want to get Ike's thoughts on here. His biggest issue is why he was very productive in terms of pass yards. He was 66% pass completion. He threw 13 interceptions last year.
Yeah.
He turned it over.
He was a turnover machine.
They were a chronic turnover offense all year long. Kentucky was. So I'm not saying he's not good. He's good for Kentucky. This Anthony Richardson, Jack Miller at number 8.
That's crazy.
I think that Emory Jones was so bad that Anthony Richardson was like the backup quarterback's everybody's favorite player. And it's not that he didn't do good things when he was in there. I don't think he was everything people thought. In their minds, he was rescuing some games and put together some very productive drives. But I think we all know to be the backup guy saving the day is one thing, but to be the guy day in and day out in every game when everybody's keying in on you is something different. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying that he's a question mark just as much as the guy behind him, Jack Miller, is. I don't think they know much about him, really.
Only 63 attempts.
Right.
That's it. I don't know why they're not further down on this list. They had a worse season than we did.
Finley had better numbers than this guy.
So Calzada, look, I mean, I know it's I think under the circumstances you could argue Calzada had a much better season.
He did.
I don't understand that. I think they could easily be down at 12. So this is a lot of hope right here that they're projecting. They're projecting some kind of bias. Whoever, a Florida grad might have put this list together because I don't know how you're looking at that and saying this dude over Zach Calzada with a sample size of 63 pass attempts.
Yeah. Ike, what are your thoughts, man, on this list?
Okay.
do we need to see Ike and make him the only guy on the screen? I feel some smoke.
It's not smoke. It's just so remind me before I begin. What was this list supposed to be?
Quarterback rooms.
Quarterback what?
Rooms.
Quarterback room.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's the backup quarterback for Tennessee?
No clue.
Joe Milton.
Joe Milton.
Oh, he was awful.
He was so terrible. He lost because he started.
Is he still there?
He started the year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, still there.
And he lost the job to Hendon Hooker.
Who is the backup quarterback for Kentucky?
Crickets.
Nobody knows. Okay, continue. Who is the backup quarterback for Spencer Rattler?
Crickets.
Doty.
Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah.
Who's the backup quarterback for Bryce Young?
Actually, I was reading about him last night. This kid they're talking about is supposed to be really good.
Jaden
Milroe.
Yeah.
How many games of collegiate football has Jaden played?
As many as I have.
I've played just as many collegiate football games as he has. Who's the backup quarterback for Stetson Bennett?
JT Daniels left, so
Correct.
it would be
Vander
Gunnar Stockton.
How many collegiate football
Brock
games has he
Vandegrift.
played?
0. Yep.
Do I need to keep doing this?
Nah, I think we got.
I'm having fun. We can keep going.
Who's the backup quarterback for KJ Jefferson?
So he got in the game a few times last year. They were like, "Oh, here's the next level." He played in some garbage time. He had some like drives, but I still don't remember his name.
So again,
remain nameless.
If this is quarterback room, I don't see how this rating makes any sense whatsoever.
Right.
Let's just play a hypothetical here. We're going to say, if you're saying projected starters and you're ranking them in this order, the list makes a little more sense. I still think it's a little out of order, but it doesn't make a ton of sense. Right. But even if you were going to do that, right, let's just say you're giving points to each person on a scale from 1 to 10, right? Mm-hmm. And then you took the average of that and then you put it on the room. Put my graphic back up here again.
Gotcha.
You're telling me a list with a bunch of guys who haven't played any significant snaps. Now, garbage time snaps, I'm not taking into account. Any significant snaps puts them so far above. Let's just say Zach Calzada was at Texas A&M on this list. Do you think that they would still be at number 10?
No, they would probably move him up higher. I'm assuming they would move him up higher.
So explain to me how Jackson Dart, who has played 0 games in the SEC, is a projected better starter in the SEC than Zach Calzada could potentially be.
Right. Yeah.
Explain to me how. Spencer Rattler, who has played 0 games in the SEC, is a projected better starter than Zach Calzada is. Who is Brady Cook? I know he's below him on the list, but who is this guy? Jaden Daniels has played no games in the SEC. Haynes King has played half a game in the SEC. Anthony Richardson can't stay healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
Hendon Hooker doesn't have a backup quarterback worth a damn.
Anthony Richardson, by the way, Ike, was a turnover machine as well when he was healthy.
So the list makes no sense if you're going to say QB room. Because my point would be, if for whatever reason your starter goes down, you have to have a quality backup. You can't tell me with even a half an inkling of surety that any of these guys on this list have a quality backup. Name the quality backup on this screen right now. Name them. And I guarantee you that list begins and ends with Auburn.
Right. Okay. So here's my thing. Here's my thing about these lists, to Ike's point. If we're talking QB rooms, Alabama.
Maybe Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Maybe Texas A&M.
Alabama is getting they're getting it's like a program bias. You win a lot, so we assume your backup is going to be good, even though he took 7 snaps last year.
They're getting the Oklahoma treatment.
Yeah, he got into some garbage time last year. So he had 7 pass attempts and 3 completions. And Bryce Young is obviously, you got a Heisman in there, so he's carrying that ranking. But if we're talking QB rooms, it's still unproven. So this is biased toward team success. And that's why I think when you get a guy like Spencer Rattler, who comes in from a program like Oklahoma, who has a history of putting out decent QBs, he gets juiced unfairly because of the reputation that Oklahoma has had with quarterbacks.
Right.
But to the B's point about Rattler, listen, with all he's pretty regular with all the tools. Pass protection, receivers, run game, and playing in a much weaker conference. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm telling you, it ain't gonna be like, listen, he think he's gonna get 73 or whatever crazy kept clean percentage he got in the SEC. Well, good luck with that. He's going to be running. And I don't care how much progress they made. You are still at South Carolina, buddy. Good luck. You don't, because you're not going to have 5-star receivers catching balls for you there. He's going to have to make people better. You could argue that he did not even do that at Oklahoma. Now you're at South Carolina, and you're telling me that he's going to make these 2-star recruits much better than they are right now? Come on, man. I would like completely on this. Can we throw the list back up one more time? I know we're showing this a lot. I think maybe you could argue between Miles Brennan and Jaden Daniels, there's a lot of starting experience there at LSU.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels.
Like I said, if we're talking rooms, now
Right.
again, if we're talking QB rooms, the rooms that I'm looking at here, Texas A&M has a decent QB room. If you believe Haynes King is truly better than Zach Calzada because he won the starting position, but there's nothing on the field to validate that. But fine, Max Johnson's got a lot of starting experience. Miles Brennan showed what he could do in a limited sample size at LSU already. Jaden Daniels was decent at Arizona State. But outside of that, you're hoping Jaden Milroe is what you saw in a spring game in a couple of snaps last year at Alabama. Malik Hornsby is as talented as his high school tape shows. Who else? That's it. There's nobody else that's shown anything on the field. You have to put Auburn in the top 5 rooms in the SEC based upon what you know these people can do and the potential that they have. Because if you're telling me Zach Calzada is this low, you can't put Anthony Richardson that high. You can't put Will Levis that high, because both of them were turnover machines in their duty at what they were in their previous schools or previous stints at their current school. You can't do it. Will Levis would give the ball to the other team just as equally as he could throw a touchdown.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Anthony Richardson can't stay healthy and will throw a bunch of turnovers.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make a ton of sense. And as much as people, even in the Auburn community, hate TJ Finley, he wasn't turning the ball over a bunch.
Yeah.
Right.
I have his numbers here. 827 pass yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
So again, I'm not saying that TJ Finley is a world beater.
3 games.
3 games. Okay.
I'm not saying he's a world beater. I'm saying that at least he's not giving the ball to the other team every 2 throws.
Right.
Like, I don't understand it being a QB room rating. If you're rating who you have the projected starter to be and you're rating in this order, I can make an argument. Okay, I still think Auburn may be a little low on the list, but
we could easily be 4 spots higher.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, we could easily be 4 spots higher on this list if you ask me. Just based on the 329 pass attempts that Zach Calzada had last year, behind one of the worst lines in our league.
We would definitely be higher because a lot of it is just unknown. And that's kind of the biggest takeaway. If you don't know what we really have or what the school's room really has, you're going to that's a negative as far as they're concerned. Because if Bo came back, best believe we're at least 8.
So that's an interesting point. If Bo Nix is on this list, you have Bo Nix, TJ Finley, and probably don't have Zach Calzada and Robbie Ashford on this list. So you have Bo Nix, TJ Finley, and then you'd have the freshman in there on this list, right? We'd probably be in the top 5 on that list with Bo Nix just because, he's a senior, and like you'd get all this credit for his experience and, you know, how he looked before the injury last season. He's at least Anthony Richardson good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Right.
He's at least Will Levis good.
Yeah, if Bo's on this list, you have you because he performed about 5 to 7-ish. That's where his results said.
Yeah.
Bo Nix was about a 5 to 7 QB. He was in the top half of the league, the lower top half of the league. So you would have to jump us up. But I just don't.
Why this list falls apart completely is it fails on both ends. If you're going to give credit to the totality of the room, terrible. If you're going to give credit to just the starter on the room,
still
terrible.
Yeah, still terrible.
I just don't get how KJ Jefferson's the 3rd best quarterback in this league.
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
Right.
Yeah.
You're kidding me. Even at potential, you're kidding me. KJ Jefferson's the third best quarterback in the SEC. He's not better than Will Rogers.
He's not.
You can't put him above Stetson Bennett. You just can't.
Well, but he has a Cam Newton-like body.
Because apparently that's all you have to do is you have to look like somebody else who was
I'm
good.
telling you, that's it. That's it.
Right. Well, let me say this though. I mean,
because Anthony Richardson can do a back handspring. He's look how athletic he. What the heck does that have to do with throwing a football?
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you this. A shout out to our guy, my guy, Big Game Boomer on Twitter. He puts together a lot of lists. He puts together a list about restaurants. What's the best bathroom on the 85 headed to Atlanta. Boomer puts together a list about everything, and I think a good list can be debated, but the extremes aren't so. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it won't be like widely panned. People will be like, "Oh, I believe he should be like a spot higher." Or, you argue minutia.
Right.
But you're not like, what? This doesn't make any sense at all. There was a guy on Twitter that put a list together of top 50 basketball coaches in college basketball, and Bruce Pearl wasn't on his list. And I took him to task. I was like, bro, just stop. Like, there are easier ways to get attention. This is terrible. You just, and his argument was, I feel like all he's really good at is recruiting. Well, he's putting out draft picks every year. So if that's the only thing he's good at, he's pretty damn good at it. But to have a list where, you could argue whether Bruce Pearl is maybe like just inside or outside the top 10 in college basketball coaches. Mm-hmm. We're not sitting here having an argument about whether he's in the top 50. Give me a break. That's clickbait, right? Mm-hmm. And this list, again, these lists feel like somebody's on their iPhone in their notes app, jotting down shower thoughts without doing any research. We pulled up all the numbers there. I'm looking at, kind of going back to Auburn. I'm just looking at what Calzada did, just on the strength of what Calzada did last year. Mm-hmm. Now I know TJ Finley, had, in terms of wins and losses, had a rough end to the season. He played the Bama game. The second half of the Bama game hurt, and he led a comeback last season. And by the numbers, I think that those two, just on the experience that they had. I mean, again, we have a quarterback. You're rating quarterbacks in front of Calzada that have like a garbage time sample size.
Right.
They literally only played in garbage time. Yeah. So how does Anthony Richardson, and it's not like, name a great quarterback that's come out of Florida since Tebow. Name one. Name one good quarterback that's come out of Florida since Tebow.
Cam Newton.
I was going to say, dang it, B. I was good.
We thank you, Florida.
Oh, man. Right. I mean, so just like I was saying,
right there.
Spencer Rattler gets the kind of the Oklahoma boost. What is Anthony Richardson getting? Because they haven't even been producing good quarterbacks.
It's the contrast. The contrast again. Emory Jones was so
well. The what was the QB? What was the QB?
Oh, I'm sorry, Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask was pretty good.
Okay, yeah, he was.
So like one since Cam Newton.
Right.
I actually like Kyle Trask a lot. I thought he was a G. But other than that, it's not a lot. It's not like they have some long history of putting out good quarterbacks, and you just fired your coach. So I don't. The Calzada disrespect is real. I see these guys. I mean, this is a homer take, obviously, but I see the work that these guys are putting in the offseason. I just don't think you can look at this. And you know what I love about this? And Ike and I will be there next week for SEC Media Days. Every year, the SEC media votes on who is going to win the conference and where they're going to finish. And everybody will take the easy way out to the top and put Bama at the top of their list. Bama and Georgia, right? So that's going to be 1 and 2 to make the SEC championship game, and then they'll pick their winner. But after that, they regularly get it wrong. Regularly. Because I saw another list from Sports Illustrated that projected us at 4 and 8.
Oh, yeah.
4 and 8. That means you think we're going to win. No, we're going to go 0 for forever in the SEC. Mm-hmm. At 4 and 8. Come on, man. Do your job. Do your job.
They could think that we beat Penn State and then we win one SEC game. I guess that's possible.
Yeah, I guess, but come on, 4-8.
I guess we beat Missouri. I don't know.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Probably we beat Missouri.
Okay, fair enough.
And then
you beat Missouri.
Well, they got us losing to Penn State, winning our first
losing to
two
Penn State
cupcakes.
and beating Missouri.
Yeah.
That's what that prediction says.
Yeah. Give me a break, man. Like, just be better at your job. If you're gonna put a list together, I mean, think about it. Our whole conference last year, like our whole division, made a bowl game last year. Hear me out. 13 out of 14 teams in the SEC qualified for bowl games last year. We're not going 4-8.
So what I want to do is I want us to have a special show. I don't know what we're going to call it. It could be a smoke show. Let's do something at the end of the season where we definitely take a compilation and just go down the list of the predictions for Auburn and just look at and let's just see how correct or what I believe to be how incorrect these predictions are. So
that sounds like a version of B Will's Bums.
Oh yeah,
it could be a special edition of that
Yeah,
with all of us on there. Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, guys, let's do us a favor. Do us a quick favor. Please share this, guys. Share this conversation on social media. Use the hashtag. Don't be out here just lurking, guys. Smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe. Definitely hit the notification bell, so just in case we go live on a special, if there's some news breaks, you are alerted to that. Let's take time to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Rapport.
This edition of the War Rapport is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial futures, let Athletic Architects help you start to build your financial house. Head over to buildthehouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Guys, become a patron member. We got lots of goodies coming for you guys this fall at the War Rapport. You don't want to miss it. Become a patron member. We talked to you guys ad nauseum about what's going on here. We got interviews. We've got film reviews, all the good stuff come the fall. Don't miss it. Don't miss out. This is going to be patron only. Some of these chats, forgive me if I'm wrong, Isaac, I think the post-game chats may be member only. Some of the game state stuff is member only. So, if you want to get in on that on game day, become a patron. You've got T-minus like 45 days to get that done. So don't miss that. Part of the advantage of being a War Rapport patron is you get early access to interviews. Evan McGuire sat down with us to just talk about the Auburn kicking game. We appreciate this young man giving us a little bit of his time to talk about Auburn. So definitely looking forward to that. Guys, we're giving away some merch. That's not what we're giving away. We're giving away a mug. Giving away a mug. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up, brought to you by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services and War Eagle Oil. That's our guy, Walt Taylor, in the comments. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up. We're going to draw in about 10 minutes here, so don't miss that. Check that spelling. Make sure that you get in there. We're on podcast. Every single podcast platform. The War Rapport is there, burning up the podcast charts. We do podcast exclusive content, so you can hear conversations on our podcast that are not on our lives. Definitely do us a favor and go over there, subscribe, download, leave us a 5-star review, and help us climb the podcast charts. We're partnered with Lee County Humane Society to save money for a good cause. Help us help them. Hashtag save all the puppies. And go to the About section of our YouTube channel. Click that donate button. 50 cents on every dollar goes to them to help them in their mission to save all the puppies. Before we get back to the conversation, quick word from one of our favorite sponsors, Chill Boys.
Treat your boys. Chill Boys underwear is designed for maximum comfort with enough space to keep you cool, calm, and comfortable. Chill Boys underwear will help you keep the boys close, not too close. When the game is on the line, you won't break a sweat with Chill Boys underwear. Whether it's left boy, right boy, or both boys, Chill Boys provides your boys comfort like you never felt. Maximize your chill with Chill Boys.
You were just listening to the sweet sounds of B Will telling you to make sure that you chill out. One of my favorite things that we do is when we do these, we work with our sponsors. I'll write scripts and then I'll send it to B. I'll record it first and I'll be like, "No, that sucks. B's got to do it." But I always appreciate the vocal talents that Ike and B have doing these voiceovers for our sponsors. We're having a ton of fun at the War Rapport with that. So go to Chill Boys, chillboys.com, get 10% off. And we'll be giving away some sack packs next week. So for that too.
So guys, just to pick up with the conversation, we talked about Mike G alluded to the Zach Calzada hate, and even some of the TJ Finley hate, considering what they did in comparison to their peers in the SEC. What I want to ask is, I think one of the things that maybe have hurt a Calzada or a Finley is their pass completion percentage. Last year, Calzada's was 56%, Finley's was 54%. Now, the number that I've heard you guys mention even last year, going into this year, still holds true. The completion percentage that we need to see from our QB, our starting QB, is.
I think at least 60. I think at least 60. I say 60. I hear Mike saying 63.
63 to compete. Yeah, to compete, okay. 63.
63. Okay. What needs to happen, and what do you think? And obviously Harsin understands that. What do you think the game plan is for? Let's just start with these two guys specifically. What is the game plan to improve on that with Auburn's offense in the fall, you think?
You know what? Time to throw is a big deal in the SEC. I talked about this with Bo. He was heralded a lot for his scrambling ability, but what a lot of people ignored was those extended plays did not, more times than not, result in positive plays. And the SEC, if you're holding on to the ball after 3 seconds, the chances, the percentage that you're going to have a successful play goes down significantly. Unless you're like Bryce Young or one of these super dynamic quarterbacks who are mobile and accurate when you are on the run. So it's difficult if you're not going to hang in the pocket to be accurate. I think that, TJ Finley, Zach Calzada he's underrated. He's a little bit of an underrated athlete. He's not a statue back there. He can move. Right. He can move a little bit. And for Finley, I think his challenge is just going to be high completion percentage is going to be about getting rid of the ball early. Going through his reads and progressions faster, and he's got to be accurate, man. He's got to be like Will Rogers accurate. Put the ball on the money, give your receivers a chance to make the plays in tight windows, and just don't make them have to expend all their energy trying to just make the catch. We saw glimpses of that last year. It was a very small sample size. You're talking about 128 attempts. That's not a lot to judge, what his ceiling or floor is. But we saw him make some NFL type throws last year. His challenge again is going to be raising his floor because, he's not mobile. He's got to have better pocket awareness. And these are all things that I know he's aware of that he needs to improve going to next year if he wants to have a successful season, if or when he gets his shot. Zach Calzada, it's a little different. We have a much larger sample size for him. Again, over 300 dropbacks to look at, and a line that was just not good, that gave up a 37% pressure rate on him. Right. It was difficult for him. His body, he paid for it with his body, but he still found a way to complete 55% of his passes under what really were not great conditions. And then his receivers turned around and dropped 26 balls. 26 for him. And that's minus a game and a half that he didn't play.
Right.
So I think, did Texas A&M play their bowl game this year?
Last year,
I think they opted out of their bowl game, right? So he didn't even get that, so. And that's 26 drops. 26 drops. So we saw, even in our game, if you go back and you look at the footage from our game, Ike and I broke down the film. God, what was the guy, even their best tight end, they were, they were dropping wide open passes in that game.
Yeah.
We could have gotten beat much worse if their receivers didn't drop as many passes as they did. And I just think, the plan for him is build on what you did last year. And if our line blocks at the same rate that they did for Bo, like Calzada is, in my mind, is going to be just fine. If he is more accurate, he will be just fine. And they're putting in the work this offseason to develop the chemistry with the receivers, the timing with the receivers. And we'll see. He's high football IQ. We interviewed him. It was one of the better interviews we've done. And he is about the work. He is here to work, and that's it. And he stated that pretty clearly and plainly. So, for both these guys have different games. Finley and Calzada have different games. And we could find success, I think, with either, as long as they both raise their floor from what it was last year. I think so. It'll be interesting to see. January, I tweeted this out the other day. 41 hours. That's how much football we get in the fall. 41 hours. But there are hundreds of hours spent January to August preparing to make the most of those 41 hours. And if those guys are putting in, the champions are made in the hundreds. The champions are made in the hundreds. So hopefully they're putting in the work and the coaches are monitoring that. A lot of it is done on your own. Nobody's telling you to go get those extra throwing sessions in. Nobody's telling you to grab the new wide receivers and go throw. You have to do that on your own. And I think these guys are doing it. So we'll see how it pans out. Hopefully the play calling helps and scheme help them out quite a bit as well, too. I hope they have a plan, because that will have an effect on the production that we see on the field.
For sure. Ike, what are your thoughts, man, on improving the pass percentage?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it's just going to have to do with how well the quarterbacks are just understanding what they're seeing, trusting what you see. To Mike's point, I think Zach Calzada last year for Texas A&M, he had some good throws that just weren't caught, and our game is indicative of that. I think the games where the people around him played up to their caliber, Zach Calzada had really great games. But I think the games where he has he's got a big arm, and sometimes he tends to trust his arm more than I've been saying I wanted to do this for a while. I have some time now. I may try to do it this coming week. Just do more of a film breakdown on Zach Calzada. His footwork fails him sometimes on those intermediate throws, and that's really where he's had his biggest issue, is on the intermediate stuff. And if he's getting his footwork together, which listen, all of the videos that they're putting out there with his QB coach suggest that he's working a lot on that and trying to be more consistent with that. You're going to see him making a lot of very accurate throws in that intermediate area. He already had a really good deep ball accuracy. So if he improves in the intermediate game with just his accuracy and timing, which he's getting a lot of timing work in, I don't see any reason why that can't be better. When we're talking about TJ Finley, the issue for him is really the exact opposite. His intermediate throws, he was great. He has he throws one of the best out routes of any quarterback that I've seen at Auburn in a while. Like just the 5 to 7 yard out, he throws it really well. The stuff he throws to the seams looks really good. When he has to put it on a rope, intermediate, he's doing pretty well on that. The issue that you have with TJ Finley is on the deeper routes, right? And is him getting more touch and accuracy down the field. And then subsequently, that makes it a problem because he has to hold the ball a little bit longer. He is antsy, right? Like, it's not that it's almost as if he's made it. I think the biggest issue with TJ Finley is he predetermines, this is the look I want to go to. This is where I want to go with the ball. And he doesn't come off of that early enough. He doesn't say to himself, oh, nope, that's not the look I thought I was going to get. Let me get to my secondary read and just go ahead and either throw this ball away or throw this to my to an underneath receiver. He needs to be able to get off of that first read faster that he has gone to, and he's analyzed at the before pre-snap. Okay, cool. This is what look I think I'm getting. This is where my best option is here. Or in the case a lot in the bowl game, and unfortunately, He gets to the line of scrimmage and he's like, this is where the guy I want to go to is, regardless of what the defense is doing. This is the route that he's running. So I'm going to look at this combination of things. But then I need to come off of that and go somewhere else. It's that when he comes off of it, he's either doing it late, or when he comes off of it, he's not doing it accurately.
Right.
So he needs to figure out how to do that processing a little bit better at the line of scrimmage, and then a lot better post snap. As far as Robbie Ashford is concerned, there's not a huge sample size for me to know what he's able to do. I think his mobility will definitely help him be able to make more positive plays. Whether or not he can do that with his arm is still yet to be seen.
Right.
So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how he's being utilized within the offense. But to the initial question about what's going to help with the accuracy, a portion of that's going to be scheme. Let's get him some quick, easy throws that they're comfortable with, and make the defense have to adjust to that. When the defense adjusts, then those quarterbacks are going to need to be able to make quick analysis of what those adjustments have been. And I think that we have the IQ to be able to do that in the room. They just need to be able to trust it a little bit better and let it rip.
Yep.
Yeah, I see that.
Well
Yep.
said. Well said.
If you're a patron member, go check out Brian Harson talking with Ike and I about QB technique, and you'll hear a lot of what they have to do consistently to, make those throws. Like Ike was saying, up the seam. We saw him rip those throws and then sail a couple as well too. So it's all about technique, and Brian Harson breaks that down, I think, pretty accurately.
And to that point too, when you talk about looking at how players throw, right? So, and it was evidence in A game what I'm talking about, the difference between a quick analysis and readjustment that Robbie did, right? There's a second window throw that he makes to
Xavier
Capers. It was behind him. But what he understood was, that throw is there, but the linebacker dropped into my window. Let me adjust and go to the next window on that throw, right? That's something, honestly, TJ Finley was not doing a lot. Even in A-Day game, the first throw wasn't there. He was either making the throw anyway, he was just going to force it in that direction. And because he has really, again, the short and intermediate throw accuracy is really good. He's not missing in the wrong place. Right. Like one of them was an out route that somebody jumped and they ended up tipping it away. He went ahead and threw it anyway, even though it wasn't there. Right. But because he put the ball in the correct place, it was going to be a completion or nothing. Right. The best they could do is tip the ball away. Because, again, the accuracy of where he's intending to throw this ball he didn't miss inside. You miss inside on that as a pick six. He doesn't miss inside a lot on that. He throws that to the outside. Again, probably better. I hear me when I know people think I'm trying to cape for TJ Finley. Whatever, his intermediate is just good. His decision making isn't always great, but he's throwing the ball where he intends to on those short and intermediate throws. It's the deep ball where you see him make the big overthrow for what should have been the interception, or the late decision that he throws overthrow. Like those are the times where he's getting into trouble. But it's in the intermediate stuff. He's going there. He knows that's where he's going. He's ripping it, and he's ripping it accurately. And he can do that from the opposite hash, right? He's got a big, strong arm, opposite hash, out route to the left, like no problem, right? So that's not an issue for him. It's just understanding, okay, that's not the window I need to throw that into, or that's not open for me. Let me come back to another receiver and figure something else out. He's not doing that stuff quickly enough. But I was encouraged by watching Robbie go through that situation and having the arm strength and the wherewithal to be able to make a second window throw to a receiver. And even though it was behind him, that receiver was able to still catch it and get upfield. So, again, I'll go back to the original graphic. This is why that QB room thing is trash, because you can't tell me that you've got 3 deep at any school that could do that. You can't tell me that.
Yeah.
And even the freshman Holden was like, okay, y'all just going to keep giving me this throw. I'll just keep taking it. That's fine.
Yep.
Take a profit, no problem.
They didn't even list him, so it's so good conversation, gentlemen. Guys, it's time for you to win something. What is that you're winning? You're winning a mug, courtesy of GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. That is our guy Walt. Appreciate you, Walt, for definitely sponsoring this. Yeah, guys, if you want to win a mug, a War Rapport mug, drop hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter to win. you need to hurry because Ike is back. And we didn't wait around when he wasn't here. So we not waiting now. So definitely get in where you fit in. Ike.
Yep, let's do it.
Oh, rolling it.
Who shall win Le Mug today? Oh, that's a new name.
Julie, it hung on you for a minute. I had hope for you.
Stephen,
It kind of did you a little dirty, Julie.
Yeah, showed your face.
You will not win. All right, Stephen, you need to hit us up in the comments and let us know that you are still around. Otherwise, we will keep this train in motion. While we wait on Stephen to jump in here, let's, if you're over there sweating the details of whether or not you were able to get this, we got a company that can help you maybe calm down a little bit.
This episode of the War Rapport is brought to you in part by Rogue Shop. Looking to reduce stress or improve your quality of sleep? Rogue Shop has you covered with a wide range of premium products, including gummies, bath salts, and oils. Go to rogueshop.com and use code RAPPORT when you check out. That way, they know we sent you. All right?
Yeah.
Indeed. Let's go ahead and get to some comments and questions. Jaquan Grant says, because B. Will, when you went on your Spencer Rattler rant, he says basically he was too cocky and his ego was just insane stupid. Thoughts on that, sir?
I had heard that he was kind of I'm that guy coming out of high school, and that continued to Oklahoma. So he was maybe didn't have the right attitude for competition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that equates to if Lincoln Riley keeps putting you back out there, though, because the minute Lincoln Riley got a better alternative, he put him out there.
I don't even understand how arrogance matters when he was the starter. Like, he was starting.
Right.
So, like, I could understand if he, like, transferred before he got an opportunity to play and he was like, I'm better than this. I need to be somewhere else. You were starting with Heisman hype.
Right.
And we're just okay.
It was a lot of hype. Like, his numbers weren't bad, but when you consider the hype, like last year we did another one of these
freaking Big 12 defenses. I don't want to hear nothing about nobody's numbers throwing in the Big 12, dog. I just don't.
I get that, Ike. But you remember that list? I can't remember. We did a live a year ago, and they had like tiers of quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and he was in a tier of his own.
Yep.
Tier 5.
Like,
yeah. And the only tier he's in now is I'm crying on the way to South Carolina tier.
Oh man.
Well, someone who isn't crying is Stephen Lisenby. You're here. Congratulations to you, sir. We need you to do us a favor. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. Thank you. Definitely email us business@the-War Rapport. We need your physical address, and we will send that to you immediately. Congratulations, good sir. All right, let's get back to it. Bryson Bridges says it's been a few days, but Mike G, what all did you throw when Jabari Smith was drafted third? I think I could hear your tantrum all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. War Eagle fellas. War Eagle, back to you, Bryson.
I didn't throw anything, but I'll tell you what. The Rockets played OKC in the G League last night, and Jabari had Chet in a jail cell. You saw him. B tagged me or something on Twitter with Chet kind of just getting big boyed by what was the guy's name?
Kenny Lofton. And he tried all that weak stuff down low with Jabari, and he got roofed by Jabari. Yeah,
he literally bodied him. He tried to back him down. You got blocked. He got the rebound, and then he went back down on the other side and then popped the three in your face. Come on, man. That was the number one. I mean, I just don't understand.
But that is the whole point that I was making about the draft. It's not that I don't think that Chet Holmgren has some offensive tools. He's clearly skilled offensively. It's that he doesn't have the body to be able to play against the players who are going to be physical with him down low. And he's an offside. Now he's shown the ability off the ball to be able to come and make blocks because he's long and he's athletic. but he ain't just locking nobody up. Jabari Smith can lock people down. Like if you are similar in height to him, you're not as quick as he is.
Right.
If you are taller than him, you're usually not as physical as he is. And this is, again, people forgetting, like people always want to say to me, oh, but Chet Holmgren's just, he only played 1 year in college basketball. He's just coming out of high. So is Jabari.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You don't think Jabari Smith is going to get stronger?
Right.
What are we doing? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
We can't be serious if we're going to do that. We can't just stop.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to get stronger. He's just, they the same age.
Like everyone else is going to stay the same.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, it's a big boys league, and athletes these days are just. I've said this a lot. The advent of sports nutrition, and training technology has come so far. These athletes are just freaky good, and these guys have all the tools to be able to do it. So if you have a guy that has the work and a guy who already has the natural gifts, physical gifts to be good, man, I think Chet has ground to make up. And I'm with Ike. I'm not saying that I feel like he's got no talent. My point is that I would not have taken him second. I would not have bet my franchise on it.
Right.
At all. The second round pick is a franchise player. That's a guy you build a team around for a decade. And I don't think that's Chet Holmgren. I don't think people are going to be game planning to stop Chet. The game plan to stop Chet is put our biggest guy on Chet. And make him beat us shooting threes.
I mean, honestly, the game plan I would have against Chet Holmgren is put a matchup where he's going to have to switch on to a guy who plays well in the post, get him in foul trouble, and get him out of the game.
Yeah,
that's it. That's it.
Easy.
That's it. Yeah.
Get him in foul trouble and get him out of the game. He can't be this offensive unicorn that people keep.
Could
if
you
he's
imagine
not
switching him? Could you imagine switching him on Zebo, Zach Randolph?
He'd be out of the game before the first quarter is over. He had 3 fouls in the first quarter if they kept him in.
He had
2 fouls in 5 minutes.
They want to hype Chet so bad. I saw a clip of the guy was like, look at Chet blocking Taco Fall. Who's Taco Fall?
Taco Fall's not good. He's just
Taco Fall has like a 13 centimeter. Now, that's probably too much. He has like a 0.3 inch vertical. Like Taco Fall is tall but can't jump at all. Like
I say it.
They're close to the same height, and Taco Fall cannot jump. So, let's stop. Let's just stop.
Let's please.
And again, I'm not saying Chet Holmgren is trash. There's a far cry from trash and number 2 overall pick in the NBA draft.
That's fact.
Right.
That's fact.
Right.
That's fact.
Again, and I think you said it last time, Ike, which was you would almost put he's in the same category as where you would put like a Walker Kessler. I believe he should have gotten that same. It may have been either you or Mike who said it, but
yeah,
well,
he's about in that same category, in my opinion.
Well, Bruce Pearl came out and he said that he felt like Walker is a better player at this point than Chet is, and I don't necessarily.
I think he's a better pro prospect today.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now he doesn't. I mean, he may not have the jump shot that Chet has, but I personally don't think that where Chet's jumper is that much more of an advantage over the other things that Walker Kessler does well.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing you. They're talking about Walker Kessler changes the game down low. He alters shots. He makes you things that don't get recorded as stats. Chet was literally just getting bulldozed straight to the basket by guys 4 inches shorter than him. Come on, man. I don't know.
Burner account here says, appreciate the super chat, man. It just feels like something special is brewing on the plains. I believe. War Eagle, back to you, my buddy.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with optimism. There's nothing wrong with optimism. Our fan base right now is full of a lot of negative Nancy's. There's a lot of people who just think, oh, we're going to struggle to win 5 games and all this. I'm like, man, come on, dude. I get that you are skeptical about what you haven't seen here yet. So if you're skeptical about TJ Finley's progress in the offseason, or whether Robbie Ashford is going to be good, or whether Zach Calzada can do, I get all that. But I just don't think the outlook is as gloom and doom as a lot of people are projecting it at all. So, I mean, nobody saw 2013 coming. but we enjoyed the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, how much did we really know? Can anybody say they were super optimistic that Nick Marshall was going to be that dude before 2013?
Had no idea.
No
Didn't
clue.
know.
Right?
Didn't know.
So I don't know.
I mean, and he didn't start off hot either. Once they figured out what to do with Nick, like we were off to the races. But yeah, we looked a little iffy the first few games of the season.
Yeah, you would say the same thing about Cam. The first couple games was a little right?
Yeah.
That Mississippi State game was a little and then as the season went on, he picked up steam. I think we're in better position with these guys that have had some experience in the SEC before the season starts. So I don't get all the gloom and doom.
All right, guys. It's that time.
Yeah. Welcome to another Jazzy Challenge.
Where is Jazzy? Shouts out to Jazzy. Appreciate you hanging out with us today, buddy.
Where was he last week, B?
Arkansas? Was it Arkansas?
You guessed Arkansas.
Yeah, I got it right for the first time ever.
I would have at least got us $50 because I said Louisiana, I think.
Let me see here. He parked his truck next to a Bama truck.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that
truck stop.
It was a Bama rig, and I was like, somebody vandalized that other truck. I don't know what happened. Let's see here. Where is this?
He's probably heading out west.
Oh man.
I'm going to say
I think he's in Illinois. Go Illinois.
I was thinking Ohio. That's what I was thinking Ohio.
I'm gonna go wild and say he's in Nebraska.
Nebraska. Where are you?
What you got, Ike?
I'm gonna say Tennessee.
All right, Jazzy, where you at, bro?
All right, we'll see how that turns out. He really says my lucky foot hurting, so I think 8 or 9 wins.
8 is not a stretch.
It's not. It's really not. It's really not. Having sports bet for the better part of the last 10 years, really since 2011, that was my first season in sports betting, and something that happens far more often than you would expect is the revenge game. I got a chance to pay you back in blood for this because I was embarrassed last season, or for a critical game in basketball, it happens within the same season usually because you can play somebody again. But I think I'm penciling in Mississippi State as a win because you don't lose that way and have these NFL prospects on the line and in the secondary. Forget that. We are going to win at Mississippi State. I am willing to bet that right now. Like if they put out that line tomorrow, no matter what it is, I'm taking it because there is definitely an emotional factor, especially in football. You know how much emotion factors into football, man. It's an emotional game. It's controlled emotion because you can't get too crazy. You can't go off the deep end and hit somebody when they don't need to be hit. But that's a revenge factor. And I think AD is saying the same thing. Penn State, they want that one back. They're going to get it back. I think they're going to get that one back. So I think we start the season 3-0. I think we win our cupcake against Western Kentucky in November. I think we get it back against Mississippi State. And we've already won 5 games, and that's not counting the cupcake that is Missouri because they are actually a very bad team who lost their best running back probably ever since they've been in the conference. Tyler Beatty was an accomplished, good running back. Their quarterback, who wasn't everything he was hyped up to be, he left. I don't even know who the guy is they have coming in behind him. I have no idea. But they were a trash defensive team. Now, you tell me that they got better by losing a running back, which helps you control the tempo and ball control. They lost that guy. They lost an experienced quarterback, and now they're the worst defense in the league is supposed to get better. I don't really see it. I see a minimum of 6 for those reasons because I think we get Penn State. I think we get Missouri. And I think we get Mississippi State. I think we beat Arkansas again because as good as KJ Jefferson was, which was just pretty good, we boxed him in pretty soundly, and that was with Treylon Burks on the field. So you're telling me that the best weapon that Arkansas has had at wide receiver probably in 10 years is gone, and you expect their quarterback play and their offense to be better? I mean, it's not that they have a good offensive coordinator in Kendall Briles.
Mm-hmm.
They do. But we know how much better we play at home. And you could say, well, hey, isn't Arkansas going to get some of that same revenge? Yeah, they could. But we're also very good, and we beat Arkansas pretty handily. We kind of got that thing over Arkansas and Ole Miss. We just kind of got mind control over them. I don't expect that to be broken. I think Ole Miss will be a harder get because they lost that game here. And Lane Kiffin is competent as a quarterback coach. He is competent as a head coach. I'm not saying he's great. I don't have any evidence to tell you Lane Kiffin is great. I think he's competent. And I don't know about either one of their quarterbacks, though. I have no idea if they're good. Matt Corral spent the whole year throwing interceptions under Lane Kiffin before he had a very good year in year 2. I don't know either one of those guys. This is their first year playing for Kiffin. Does that mean that they get it? Jackson Dart was expected to be the guy hands down, and he's coming here battling the guy who was there. Now, maybe the guy who was there was also there last year, and that will be the second year that he needs to make that leap, and maybe he's good. But Ole Miss lost a lot too.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think we're at least 6 is the floor, 8 is the ceiling, and anything above that is just icing on the cake.
Well, to that point, B, and this is a comment I saw earlier. Jordan says playing calling itself gives us 2 more wins, which puts us right at 8.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the play calling or the improvement in play calling this year under Keesaw?
So, what's important to note about play calling is that coaches are calling plays according to what the situation calls for in the game, what the defense can give them, but also what the player's strengths and weaknesses are. We had a quarterback last year that for the most part of the season, while he had some good games, he also had some bad games too, but he didn't see the field very well. And if there's anything that I know that these coaches want to improve, they want to make it to where I'm going to call something open and you're going to see the guy. You're not going to just look to one side of the field. You're not going to be afraid of the rush before it gets there. Or even if the rush is coming, you're going to stand in and make that throw. And that's something where we have improved at the quarterback position in Zach Calzada. When he first came in, I said, I'm a little hot or cold. I don't really know what to make of it because production-wise, he looks very similar to Bo to me. But the difference in their games is Calzada would stand in and make that throw and take that hit, and he was accurate downfield. We talked about the percentage that you want the quarterback to throw for us to have a good season. You take me one of those check down throws as a percentage completion and trade that in for a 30-yard bomb, wildly different games. Wildly different games. Because Bo would get scared, run out too quick, make an easy throw. Calzada goes, all right, I see him, I'm going to throw it. And it may have been dropped by his guys. We don't it doesn't take that much for us to improve offensively. If you take one throw that Bo completed and turned it into one of the bombs that he just didn't see and didn't throw to his open guy, we win 2 more games last year. Easily. So the play calling has a lot to do with what they thought Bo or what they knew Bo wasn't going to do well. And they were trying to save a mediocre running game as well. The running game improving slightly improves things for the quarterback. It's we were like on the edge in many categories and many positions where we just needed slightly better play to make things better. I think it is the offensive coordinator's job to call better plays in situations, but it's also their job to improve the play of the position they coach. So you don't have to protect the quarterback with play calling. And that's what really got us in trouble. They're protecting Bo Nix from reading because he's not great at reading. So we get into predictable situations. Oh, well, why would they call that? They're calling what they know the quarterback can execute. You mad at that play call? And that's where Mike Bobo caught a lot of flack. I'm mad at Bobo for not running when we should have run. That's a reasonable reason to be upset at him. Hey, let's get some more plays in here for both of these running backs, some more creative plays for both of these running backs, because we know, at least in the game where we had started running well, we can run well. We got studs at running back. Don't abandon that. As far as his offensive play calling when it came to the pass game, I didn't really have too much gripe with how he called those plays or what plays he called, because when we did our film reviews in the fall after the games, we saw, he was open, Oh, he was open too. Did Bo even see him? I don't think so. There's a lot. It's not just as simple as, he called a bad game. I thought he went away from the run too much, but what the quarterback can do is going to dictate how well we perform overall. I mean, as always, but I think marginal improvement in the running game. And then that 8 is attainable. And then we can shock a couple people and maybe hit that 9 mark.
Yep.
Indeed. Tom Reed, appreciate you hanging with us, man. He says we can beat Bama any single year, meaning we play them very tough. Why do we keep getting blown out by Georgia?
That is a great question. The Georgia hump that Auburn has to get over is astounding. It really is. Of all the team, I know it's the Iron Bowl, but man, these losses to Georgia just suck.
They are embarrassing.
I don't know. It's just bad. I don't have a ton to say about this, but hopefully, again, if we start playing big boy football, Harsin can turn this around a little bit. Because you got to be physical with Georgia. You have to be physical with them. You have to win the line of scrimmage. It's hard to win games with them when your quarterback is, I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard against Georgia. You have to be physical up front. You do. You have to play. You have to control the clock, and you have to try to wear down their defense a little. They've got hitters, man, and they've got guys who are assignment sound, and they're a well-coached defense. They've been a well-coached defense with 5-star athletes. So you've got to be able to bang with those guys up front, man, and hopefully, this is one of the trends I hope Harsin can reverse.
Do you think what's going to factor into that is recruiting as well, considering how high of a level they've been recruiting?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to it. But at the end of the day, I don't know that it's going to take you a little bit to catch up in recruiting.
Yeah.
It is going to take you a little. What you have to do is you have to outdevelop them. You need to have tougher guys, and you just need to catch them lacking, man. Like, catch these dudes lacking, thinking, oh, we're 5 stars, we're Georgia, we beat you guys, and then come in and just have guys who are willing to outwork their guys. Yeah. Catch them slipping. So, I mean, and once that happens, they'll start taking you seriously, and by the time they start, hopefully you've caught up in recruiting a little bit. But it's not all about that talent straight out of high school. You can develop a guy into a 5-star on the field.
Yeah.
Marion Thomas says, Banchero took Jabari to school the other night. I think he had 20 points.
Yeah, this is a terribly inaccurate take.
I was going to say,
Banchero had a good game, but he did not take Jabari Smith to school. It's a terribly inaccurate take. In fact, consistently,
did they play each other?
Yeah, they played. Orlando played Houston.
Okay,
but
yeah,
consistently, Houston was trying to get Jabari Smith off of him defensively. Like they were trying to switch it so that Banchero did not have to go against Jabari Smith on the offensive end. And the opposite was true. Houston wasn't really running sets for Jabari, so Banchero didn't have to guard him a bunch. He got one block on him, but to say that he took him to school, again, Banchero had a good game. I'm not saying he didn't have a good game. To say he took Jabari Smith to school is just not accurate.
Yeah.
Not like I would challenge you to go back and watch the plays where they actually matched up against one another and see that it was a fairly even situation where Banchero won a couple of them, Smith won a couple of them. It wasn't that. So gotcha. I don't agree with that take, but again, that's people welcome to have different takes.
I didn't watch it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just saw the scores and the points, and I was like, okay, all right.
See that one.
Yeah, Banchero had a good offensive game. He's a talented offensive player. That's never been in question. It's whether or not he can defend anybody is going to be the question.
Right.
Right. Bay Lyman says they should bring Cam in to talk to the team. Have y'all tried to get Cam on the show?
Yeah, listen, I talk to Cam probably once every other millennia. So I hope we grow to the point where getting in contact with Cam Newton is an easy thing. Now, I'll tell you guys this. When he was in New England, it was an impossibility because every interview they do had to be approved by Belichick. They had to run all interviews through the front office. And so now that he's out of New England, he might be a little easier to get to. But, as long as you guys keep supporting, it's a possibility Cam will be on here one day for sure. I want Bo too, man. I want Bo Jackson as well too.
Oh, okay. Really? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Bo Jackson. B almost had an aneurysm.
I'm just of all people, you are okay.
No, thank you.
Jazzy Joe.
Illinois.
We won 50 for Illinois. By the way,
Hey.
Tennessee and Nebraska also borders Missouri.
Okay,
Just
fair
want to
enough.
put that out there.
All right.
All right.
Illinois.
Thank you, Jazzy. We appreciate that. I don't see any other. Okay, I don't see any other comments. I think we at a good place. Good conversation, gentlemen. Quarterback talk always gets our blood going. Obviously, Mike G. Oh, let me ask you this, Ike. Is there possible we could? Is there some value you think in looking at some of the play calling under Keesaw when he was the OC at Boise?
If we could find the tape, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how prolific or how readily available Boise tape is, but yeah, if we could find the tape, I think it would be. We probably, I don't know, but yes, I do think that would be good.
Okay. I was thinking about that with the question about the play calling improving actually gets us 2 more wins. I'm curious to see if there's any value in that, but something to think about. Mike, tell the people why it is important to become a patron in July, sir.
Hey, listen, we're doing lots of great things at the War Rapport. You definitely want to be a part of that. Become a patron member. Film reviews, early access to interviews, all that great stuff is coming at you this fall, plus a few surprises. Now, if you weren't with us last season, we give away 2 tickets to every single home game to our patron members. So you definitely want to be a part of this, guys. It's just a small thank you from us to you for supporting us and watching every week. So every Wednesday night, we're going to raffle off tickets to the next week's home game. And you definitely want to get in on that. So before the season starts, somebody will win 2 tickets to Mercer. If you're within driving distance of Auburn, you definitely don't want to miss that, but that's going to be for patrons only. So become a patron and be a part of our community. Part of being a patron is getting early access to interviews. Evan McGuire is up next, guys. You don't want to miss this interview. Talking about Auburn's kicking game. I want to thank Evan for being gracious with his time and sitting down to talk to us. We're on podcast, every single podcast platform. The War Rapport is there. You guys, please support us on podcast. Download, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review. Help us climb the podcast charts. We're partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to raise money for a good cause. So go to the About section of our YouTube channel. Click donate. 50 cents on every dollar goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them in their mission to save every single puppy they can. Definitely want to close giving a shout out to our title sponsor, Athletic Architects. Our guy Jacob, they're doing great things working with athletes to help them get their NIL together, get their business set up, helping make athletes into business people before they have to get out into the real world. So we appreciate the work that they're doing with our student athletes. Athletic Architects, buildthehouse.com. If you know somebody, the parents of an athlete, and they need help getting the paperwork together for NIL, definitely want to reach out to Athletic Architects and let them help you. Also want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Rogue Shop, as well as Chill Boys. So all great sponsors for the War Rapport. Of course, our guy JG Tate over at auburnsports.com. We've got great things coming this fall. Hope you guys are along for the ride.
We got a comment. I saw a comment earlier. I think I may still have it here. Philip Coleman says, talk with Shed and he could get you closer to Bo. That's his uncle.
I mean, I'd like to have a conversation with Shed just in general, so that's fine with me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
for sure.
Butter him up. So Sticky Hands. Tell me about. I've always called you Sticky Hands. So. Butter him up, Ike. All right, do the necessary.
So Jerry Rice Jr. Let's talk about.
Anyway, guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us. You already know what to do. Before you get out of here, share this video, use the hashtag, help people to find the content. Before you get out of here, guys, definitely smash the like button. And if you're new to our channel, please be sure to subscribe to us. And if you want to interact with us, guys, on social media, that is Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, where you can find us at The War Rapport. We are TW Rapport on TikTok. That's it for now, guys, but enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.